Well, hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Roger, and this is your daily tarot map for Wednesday, July 15th, 2015, using tarot to create the life you want. First off, I want to thank everybody for liking these videos, for sharing them on your social networks, for subscribing to this channel, for commenting on them. As always, I really appreciate your support. So this week, we continue our work with the Daniloff Tarot, created by the talented artist Alexander Daniloff. And the three cards drawn randomly from the deck today were the King of Swords, the Four of Cups, and the Hierophant. Okay, so the first thing I thought of when I turned these cards over this morning were the words from the Authority song by John Mellencamp. You know, the I fight authority and authority always wins, as we see two authority figures flanking our center card. So the first card I'll draw today is the Stony-Faced King of Swords. You know, this is a card that really appears for me in readings, and when it does, it usually points to an encounter with an authority figure of some kind. You know, to me, this card speaks of conventionality and sometimes the red tape that we might encounter. So it could point to a government agency or even a judge or a lawyer. But more often than not, I see it as representing someone's boss, which may or may not be a good thing depending on your boss. Now, in this case, I'm not seeing it as a wholly positive thing, as suggested by the center card, the Four of Cups. A card of disillusionment, of boredom, of disinterest. You know, when this card dampens a reading, it's usually to suggest that the seeker might be fed up and disillusioned with their current situation. You might even have a bad case of the blues. But given that this card is next to the King of Swords, makes me think that for some of you, this might be your job that's the culprit. You know, maybe a job that you were once excited about has become routine, boring, and no longer challenging for you. Maybe you're sick of wasting all your time in meetings and being tasked with chores that make no sense at all to you. Well, okay, maybe I'm projecting a little bit here, but you get the idea. Now, whether it be your employment, a relationship, if you happen to have a King of Swords type of spouse, or even a legal situation, today's cards might call for you to examine your situation and try to determine what you can do to improve it. And if it is job-related, which I'm kind of feeling here, then now might be a good time to put out some feelers to see what other opportunities are out there. Now, our last card, the Hierophant, is yet another authority figure, perhaps even a role model. But this is another card of convention, of organizations, of government, of corporations. But for many of us, this card kind of represents someone to whom that we've given our power over to. You know, this person might have imposed rigid guidelines in your life, or maybe even represent a controlling influence of some kind. Now, if the center card here is any indication, you may have had enough of it and are ready for the situation to change. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to move on. You know, sometimes having a heart-to-heart with those involved can fix things. But if it doesn't work, then it might be time to go out on your own. You know, I've seen the Hierophant appear when we're doing what's expected of us as opposed to what we'd like to be doing. So today, there are some questions that you might want to ask yourself. It's up to you to decide if you're up to the challenge, if you're ready to rock the boat. Now, it is worth mentioning here that both the King of Swords and the Hierophant can represent a counselor or advisor of some sort. So perhaps talking to a career counselor, or if the Four of Cups here does represent depression of any kind, maybe a trained therapist. You know, often an uninvolved third party can help us to see things from a different perspective. So the message today for these three cards is: Leonardo da Vinci once said, "Nothing strengthens authority so much as silence." If your situation is getting you down, it might be time to tackle an overzealous authority figure head on. So today's advice card comes from the Chronicles of Destiny Fortune cards, and the card drawn randomly from the deck is number 48, Bliss. So the Bliss card is one of the most positive cards in this deck, and it makes me think of the author and mythology expert Joseph Campbell's words or advice to Follow your bliss. You know, life is too short to be trapped in a situation that makes us unhappy or miserable. You know, this might be that employment situation that we just discussed earlier. So today, take stock of where you are in your life and if there's anything that you can do to improve an unpleasant situation in the middle of which you might find yourself. So what can you do today to begin following your bliss? And that is your daily tarot map for today. If you liked this video, would you do me a favor and click the like button below? I'd really appreciate it. And also feel free to visit my website at tarot-dude.com, where you can find all my contact information and learn more about my work. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Brightest blessings.